JD, it turns out the cold is not only dangerous for us, but also for our furry friends. In the aftermath of this weekend storm, veterinarians want you to remember these cold weather pet safety tips.
So let's start with this one. Limit the exposure outside to just potty breaks, just out for potty breaks. Protect the paws with booties. Always check or knock on the hood of your car before you start the engine, just in case a cat crawled in there to keep warm. And if you can, have a pet survival kit with 7 days worth of food and water for your pet.
That is it. The worst thing about dogs is they don't
live forever.
They don't.
That's the worst thing.
But it is Tail Waggin Tuesday, and we are sitting down with a doctor who's made it his mission to keep our pups around longer.
Yes, this is Dr. Matt Kaeberlein. He's the co-founder of the Dog Aging Project, a study aimed at figuring out how to increase dog longevity. It's been around since 2014. More than 50,000 dogs have been part of the study.
This morning, Dr. Matt is joining us along with two participants in the study, Tyson and Zoe. Welcome to New York.
You said Tyson's name and Tyson's head snapped right on like, yes?
Oh my gosh.
Are you talking to me?
That's right. And also their handler.
Hi.
He's just here to
He's just here to handle him. Tell us about, Dr. Matt, tell us a little bit about the Dog Aging Project. How does it work, and like what inspired you to do this work?
Sure, yeah, so the Dog Aging Project, we started about 2014, and I was really inspired by my own dog, my German Shepherd Dobby, who was about 4 years old at that time. I'd been studying the biology of longevity for many years, knew that we understood that biology well enough in laboratory animals to have an impact on their lifespan, increased lifespan and health span, and I wanted it for my own dog, to be honest with you. And so I had this light bulb moment where I realized some of the things that work in laboratory animals are going to work in dogs and probably in humans. And we had the opportunity to give our companion animals 2, 3, 4 more extra years of healthy longevity. And I just felt like when that light bulb went off, I was like, this is something I have to do.
Wow.
So I set out to start to try to create this large scientific study, which the Dog Aging Project has grown into. Okay. It's now has about 50,000 dogs and their owners around the United States, all participating in mostly an observational study of aging in dogs. So owners can go to the website, dogagingproject.org.
It's okay, Zoe can get down. Come on, Zoe.
I know.
Come on.
Do your thing.
Zoe, we'll let them explore.
And they are out and about.
Come here.
So what is part of, how are you collecting the data?
Right.
Walk us through this whole thing.
So it's the largest part of the study is observational. We don't ask owners to do anything different than they normally would.
Okay.
They complete surveys online, and then for a subset of owners who are able to provide electronic veterinary medical records, they become eligible for what we call the sampled cohort. So we send them a kit, they take it to their veterinarian with them, and they'll send biological samples back to the study.
Oh my gosh.
And so from this, we learn, all sorts of observations about factors that are associated with health and longevity in dogs. So lifestyle factors, diet, exercise.
Well, I was just going to ask, is it similar to humans? Because if I eat well, and I get sleep, and I'm hydrated, and no one pets me, but I would.
Right, there's the connection piece, right? Yes. No, I think there are obviously a lot of similarities between the factors that influence longevity in dogs and those that influence longevity in humans. Of course, as we started the segment with, dogs age about 7 to 10 times faster than people do biologically.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so one of the implications of that is that we can not only study the aging process in dogs in a much shorter time frame, potentially we can understand whether particular interventions, whether those are diet, exercise, sleep quality, or maybe even medicines, can slow the aging process, increase lifespan and health span in dogs in a time frame that's pretty reasonable. I think we do have a small clinical trial, and that clinical trial is designed to answer the question, can we slow aging in dogs in a 5-year time period? We couldn't do that in humans because humans age so much more slowly.
Right.
Well, and a 3-year increase in lifespan for a dog, on the scale of a dog's life, that's massive.
It is.
I mean, that's the equivalent of almost a 20-year lifespan increase for a human.
Right.
You nailed it, yeah. And I mean, that was actually the math I did in my head back in 2014. We, in my laboratory at the University of Washington at the time, had shown that we could take a drug called rapamycin. We could treat mice that live about 3 years, at about the equivalent of a 60-year-old person's age and get a 60% increase in remaining life expectancy. Now, that's in the laboratory, but that equates to 3 to 4 years for a typical dog or 20 years for a 50-year-old woman.
Wow.
So the question is, will the same interventions have the same effect on longevity and health span outside of the laboratory? And we're trying to answer that question.
Yeah. I like dogs more than I generally like people. So
You're not alone in
We could do
that.
that. If we could do that.
Huge win for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And great work
We should
you're
let
doing.
these two be free range. They've been
Go
so
free.
good.
Oh my gosh. If you're interested in the clinical trial that Dr. Matt is telling us about, head over to dogagingproject.org.